Hey, what's going on? What's going on, guys? I just wanted to drop this video off right quick. And why I found this video important, just stick with me for a second and you will see in a minute as it comes full circle. Now, U.S. federal civilian employees will see minimum wage bump to 15 an hour. Now, some of you may know what a federal civilian employee is. Some of you may not know. But just for the record, let's go ahead and get this so you guys can get an understanding and see where I'm heading with this conversation. Automatically, okay, what is a federal civilian employee? You'll probably run into federal civilian employees daily. The postal worker. You guys see where I'm going? The nurse at the Veterans Administration Hospital, or the clerk who answers the phone if you call about Social Security benefits for a parent. All are federal civilian employees. Who is considered a government employee? People who work directly for a federal agency are government employees, which means the same thing as federal civilian employee. All the branches of military employ people in non-combat civilian jobs. One well-known group of civilian employees in the military is the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. But federal civilian employees are not like the only people who work at the federal agents. Okay, now that we got a quick idea, let's go back to the article. So, at the largest employer in the country, how the federal government treats the workforce has a real impact, says the director of whatever, open personnel, yada, yada, yada. Now, this is what caught my attention. OPM said this change will impact 67,000 of the 2.2 million federal employees, 56,000 work for the Department of Defense. Now, automatically, when I saw that number 67,000, it automatically reminded me of an article that I once did about a secret army that the Pentagon has. Let's dig into that article right quick. See, this all loops back down to the gang stalkers, is what they're talking about, federal civilian employees. Pentagon running secret army of 60,000 around the world. Now, the number was at 60,000. We know that it's much higher than that. The numbers are never accurate when it's reported in the news, in my humble opinion. Anyway, so as you can see, this article dates back to May 19th, 2021, which was last year. So that number have grown slightly over the 7,000, but would make me think that they're in reference to them because all of these people in the secret army are civilian employees. A secret army of around 60,000 is carrying out domestic and foreign operations for the Pentagon in a program aimed at minimizing threats to U.S. security, it has reported. Now, as as we read and seen what federal civilians employees are. The force said it to be 10 times the size of the CIA. So the CIA also is running a program with that's very similar to this. Okay, so we understand that. It's made up of operatives working undercover, with some of them embedded in top companies around the world, according to Newsweek's. Agents in the Signature Reduction Program developed by the Pentagon over the past 10 years are engaged in online as well as real life assignments and are often soldiers, civilians, and contractors who evade detection with false identities. So, this secret army is not only getting help and getting raises by these intelligence agencies, they're also getting fake documentation, fake identities to carry out these acts. Now, Newsweek reports that the secret army is carrying out its duties without the knowledge and consent of Congress. North Korea, Russia, and Iran are believed to be just some of the countries seen as hostiles to the U.S. Where okay, that's off a subject. But do you see what I'm saying here? So you see how the numbers kind of correlate and how the numbers is currently growing with these civilian armies that the Pentagon and the CIA and the FBI and so on and so forth wants to employ. Now it's all in the news on how they want to give raises to federal civilian employees when in fact federal civilian employees are, as you see and as we read, some of the people who work in the house our regular household names, such as grocery stores, the postal worker, nurses, things of this fashion, your neighbors, people who's moving and participating in this program who do these tactics that we endure so blatantly because they're protected. They're protected. With some of them with false identities, and it's all at the expense of the government. So I definitely believe that all of this ties into. I believe that all of this most definitely ties in to one another. I believe that this is just like I said, as I stated before, just one big beta, and this right here, what we see is the exact same thing and the exact same tactics that they employ in Stasi German. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here. Civilian spies. That's all they are. Civilian spies. Yeah. So what do you guys think about this? I think it's gonna get real bad. How many civilian federal employees are there? I'm sorry, I froze a little because I started reading this. According to the Office of Personnel Management, federal agencies, including the U.S. Postal Service, employ a total of 2,087,747 people throughout the United States in U.S. territories and in foreign countries in 2007. Oh my God. United States Post Office employs an additional 6,444,124 people, bringing the grand total to 2.7 million. Whew. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that's why it's probably pretty bad in California, Georgia, Maryland, Texas, and Virginia when it comes to gang stalking, because we have the most federal civilians working there. So you see how this all correlates, because the gang stalking is very bad in those 5 states. I'm in Virginia. California is out of control. Texas is out of control. Maryland. I mean, we see a lot of active shootings, and we just seen the synagogue. I mean, the synagogue thing in Texas, the whole Maryland thing. I remember a big recently, more recently here, there was a targeted individual who died who had signs posted up in his yards about how the FBI was watching him and neighbors was breaking in his house, so on and so forth. But I believe that this all correlates. Federal civilians employees work directly for federal agencies such as Social Security Administration. The military employs civilians for non-combat work, and they are also considered federal and civilian employees. So non-combat work could be this no-touch torture, things of this nature. This is crazy, and so so really, what they're doing by advertising this, they're just simply recruiting right now faces when they're talking about how federal civilian employees will be receiving a raise and how it's well to set the bar for other agencies so they could follow suit. So you see how they're setting the foundation and the threshold here. This right here is ready to be one of the another, to me, in my opinion, humble opinion, from what I'm gathering and seeing and understanding here, it's gonna attribute to a whole lot more gang stalking and people signing up for this, in my humble opinion.